Hello, everybody. I am meteorologist Hutch Johnson with an update. A severe weather outbreak has an active tornado warning as far north as Wisconsin, all the way down into the deep south of Arkansas right now. A number of tornado warnings. We're going to go over the latest as that risk for severe weather does continue tonight. It is a high risk for tornadic thunderstorms in parts of the deep south tonight, including much of Arkansas as well as western parts of Kentucky and Tennessee, where we do have active tornado warnings going on. Now, here's the main cold front line here. Gusty straight line winds are associated with these very fast moving storms heading towards Pine Bluff right now, moving right through portions of, Pocahontas, down south into Little Rock. So Little Rock to Pine Bluff, these thunderstorms, a lot of lightning with them, a lot of heavy rain, but most of what's moving into areas near Little Rock and points south, very heavy rain, a little bit of a hail core just north of Sheridan right now towards Prattsville and Leola. Now, as we go down south just a little farther, we have a severe thunderstorm warning just issued for Sparkman for this storm. Look how fast it's moving, folks. It is racing at 72 miles per hour. That thing's going to get a speeding ticket. 2-inch diameter hail, 60-mile-per-hour gusts as that system moves to the northwest. That's 72 miles per hour. So the little arrowhead here is where the storm is. If you are in Leola, 6:56 Central Time is when that storm will be working its way towards you. Let me turn the timestamp up there. So you have about, 10 minutes to 15 minutes to prepare for that storm in Leola as it's moving very quickly. There is a hail core on the backside of this storm system that's about to move through the Sparkman area there as well. Keep that in mind. Racing up towards the Sheridan area. Will be in your area by 7:08, and if it lasts and remains severe, England by 7:32. Now, look at the areas just south of that, though. We do have some points that are showing some tornadic storms. Look at the copious amounts of lightning kicked off by the energy in the atmosphere today. Rising motion, the rough and tumble mixture of ice and water in the cloud, really electrifying things with these storms. Oftentimes, the most severe storms do have higher outputs of that lightning. Garland, an active tornado warning. Let's get the latest on that. Stamps also in the path of that storm. Tornado warning as radar indicated, and it does expire. 3/4-inch diameter hail from that storm moving off to the east northeast at 50 miles per hour. So here's the path of that particular storm. Will be near Stamps by 6:50 Central Time, Waldo by 7:04. Watch out, take your tornado precautions at this, that rotating thunderstorm will be making its way towards you. I will switch over to single site radar, which allows us as meteorologists, me as a meteorologist, to look inside, and we can look together at where that rotation is moving and where it's at. But I need to locate the most close radar here. Let's go to Shreveport down in Louisiana as we look up to the north into this storm system. Where the radar is critically important to what we're looking at and knowing what we're looking at when it comes to the rotation with regards to the storm. So here we go. We're looking at this north one. It's moving in on the Lewistown area right now. This backward C shape is something that would indicate a gusty straight line area of winds. See the bite taken out of the storm there? That very well could be where we have the rotation. That is called a hook echo. Very not clearly or super clearly defined, but let's go ahead and look at the velocity. And the velocity couplet right here over Garland is in the same spot as that hook echo we just showed you. So that's two pieces of evidence of some pretty tight rotation with this storm. I've seen stronger, like the storm cell down to the south, which we'll get to. But if you are in Louisville rather, and Stamps, this storm will be moving in your general direction with that tight rotation and couplet working its way east. Again, sturdy structure, lowest floor, and put as many walls between you and the storm as you can. Now, as we look down to the south here, this storm really is spinning like a top. Do you see the bright greens here? That's very strong wind. Again, the radar's to the south. So the greens mean motion toward the radar down there in the Shreveport area. And then this bright red here is motion away from the radar. There is a couplet that is what looks like moving right over the I-49 corridor right now as this system is moving off to the east. Taking a look at the National Weather Service's warning with this particular storm, it is moving northeast at 53 miles per hour, mainly over rural parts right now, but it is over the interstate. That's where the couplet is, moving northeast at 53 miles per hour. So that's a look at that particular storm. We'll keep it on this look as we look at an outbreak of storms. Now, Pine Bluff, you have a severe thunderstorm warning in your particular area. Let's switch radars here and go to the one that's a little bit closer to you. Let me find a good one here. I do like the one in Little Rock, so let's go there. Okay, so now as we go down south, and you're looking at a radar that's pointed down to the south, so we're looking for that couplet with this particular storm. I don't think there it is. It's loaded up. Okay, this is a clear rotating thunderstorm now here in that Redfield area. So let's take a look at that. We do have some velocity away from the radar with velocity towards on this side. So this storm is moving off to the east. It looks like it's moving at 68 miles per hour. So you do not have a lot of time as that storm is making its way in. Let me get you the details on where it is. Then we'll talk a little bit more about this rotation. This is not a tornado warned storm, but it's in an area that is conducive for tornadoes tonight, and they can quickly form. This one says it is a thunderstorm warning for 1-inch diameter hail. It wind gusts to 60 miles per hour. The threat is radar indicated. This storm is basically then moving off to the east, close to 70 miles per hour, and heading in the general direction of Pine Bluff, but it looks like it'll be on the northern fringe as it crosses over the interstate here at 5:30. And it's about to do that right now with a couplet right here. So if you are north of Pine Bluff, let's see how far. Let me get my little toolbox out here. Where's the pliers? Nope, I don't need those. Let's go with the measurement tool. Let's get out the tape measure here and see how far this rotating part of the storm is right now. If from Pine Bluff, as the crow flies, let's go here. That rotating couplet is 15 miles to the north and east of Pine Bluff, but it is just very close to you folks in and around Redfield. So just to the south of Redfield, there could be a rotating part of that storm only 4 miles to the southwest of your area. So keep that in mind. These are dangerous storms. The environment around you today rotating pretty tightly, so keep that in mind. Let me see if I can turn this tool off. It's going berserk here. So, I see what's going on. Okay, well, I don't know if I can turn it off. Let's just go here, and let's go here, and there. Okay, my apologies. All right, I've been playing with the toolbox too much here. So, spinning storm, rotating storm, making its way toward the Redfield and Sherrill area. Let's see if I can track this storm. I got to turn that line path off. There we go. I think that did it. Nope. It doesn't want to turn off, does it? Well, let's just close it down. Okay. I'll reopen that. I apologize for the delay on this. There we go. Okay, so if I click on this, here's a look at the path of the storm. Sheridan 632. That storm is in your area already. Redfield, it's over you right now. And the rotating part of the storm is just behind that, so it's coming now. We do have the Humphrey area. They'll see this storm by 7:07 as we go through the next 20 minutes or so. And these storms are some fast racing puppies out there as we head into the evening. We do have a tornado warned storm here heading toward Forest City. This storm showing some tight rotation right here is moving to the north and east. Let's get the latest on that particular tornado warned storm. 58 mile per hour movement to the northeast. 1 1/2 inch diameter hail. The locations impacted will be Palmer, Pine City, Holly Grove, working its way through the Louisiana Purchase State Park. So if you're in the state park, make sure you know where sturdy structure is. We have a couple of rotating couplets and a lot of boxes thrown over the top of other polygon boxes here. Multiple tornadic storms. We have a couplet right here south of Morrow moving off to the north and east at a fast clip. There's another one right here that's even stronger, and that one is just to the north and east of Holly Grove as it works its way northeast. So 2 separate warnings, 2 separate tornado warned storms. If you are in Morrow, you'll want to seek shelter in the interior room, staying away from windows, and it will be near your area here in the next 9 minutes. Get out of mobile homes, manufactured homes, and get into a sturdy structure, preferably a shelter below ground. If you don't have that, get to the lowest floor and put as many walls between you and the outside as possible as these dangerous and tightly rotating storms work their way through your area. Now, we do have more tornado warnings out there. There's the Carlisle area showing a storm here. We do have the greens and the pinks next to each other here showing some tight rotation, and that's heading toward the Arcs as well as Georgetown at this time. This particular tornado warned storm is a radar indicated one. So most of these that I've talked about thus far have not produced tornadoes that are on the ground. There's not confirmation yet. Your box is going to change its look if that's the case, just to let you know. So this one moving at 72 miles per hour is going to be moving in that general direction of, why is it so far off there? I think that one is, this one is off. I'm not going to go by this timestamp here. So here is that rotating couplet. It's right here, and it's over and near Carlisle, and it's moving towards Des Arcs or day arc up in to the north and east at 72 miles per hour. Numerous tornado warnings. We do have a report, a storm report of a tornado by law enforcement that was located at 3 miles east of Fisher out there, and a brand new tornado warning for the Jonesboro area listed now. Numerous tornado warnings in this particular area in and around Jonesboro. The latest one flashing out here. Tornado warning for an observed tornado. That's why it's flashing. I told you those observed ones would look a little bit different. Okay. Threat catastrophic. 1-inch diameter hail. The locations. It looks like Jolliffe Shore, West Hermondale, and Paulding, and Delphor as that system works its way off to the north and east. Let's get the latest on this observed tornado moving northeast at 59 miles per hour, taking you in a little bit closer. Again, this is an observed tornado. See if I can get a closer radar. I think I do have one here. Let's go. Well, I don't want a terminal radar. Let's just go to this. We'll leave it at this one. Okay, getting in here, we see near Truman. Right near Truman, there is a couplet showing up right here. This is getting pretty high off the ground. Remember, a Doppler radar points up at an angle. The farther we get away from the radar site, the higher in the ground the rotation is. So because you're a little farther away from the radar site, the actual tornado that could be on the ground or is on the ground could be a little bit different location with regards to that particular storm. Nonetheless, let me see if I can find the location of the warned storm here. What looks like it's near Lake City, moving northeast. Very healthy clip of about 70 miles per hour. Will be near Bay by 6:35, so it's been well through there on its way to Monet at 6:58. So you have 7 minutes if you're in Monet to seek shelter in that interior room. A lot of overlapping tornadic storms here. So it can be difficult to tie the right rotation with the right storm. So I'm going to switch radar views here one more time, and we're going to look at what's called relative velocity, where we take the motion of the storm out. See here, there it is. Okay, so it looks a little bit different in the color box here. Let me see if I can find a closer radar that's going to give us a little bit more. Let's use this one near Memphis. It'll be a little closer. I think we'll get a clearer look at this storm now. Okay, so as we take a look, we clearly can see very, very bright colors right here. Right here, Lake City points here. There is an active tornado that looks like it could be very well on the ground. Very strong, bright greens next to bright reds. That's very strong shear showing up in that particular area. Moving off to the northeast, it's going to be heading in the general direction of you folks in Cardwell, Hornersville. If you're in Manila, all of you folks will want to seek shelter in your tornado safety area. Hopefully you've had that conversation, you know where that is, and you can get there fairly quickly, because these are some fast-moving storms, and through the trees of northern and eastern Arkansas, it's very hard to see what's coming your way. So as we go up north, we do have another tornado-warned storm. We may check back on this Caraway one since it's an observed one here shortly, but right now near McDougal, I'm seeing evidence of some very tight rotation right over your community now. This is a Doppler indicated tornado. Okay, Doppler radar indicated 3/4 inch diameter hail, but the main concern now is for a tornado. It's moving northeast at 52 miles per hour. So what this means is we have a thunderstorm that's spinning. The winds inside the storm have very tight rotation. That tight rotation is evident right here near McDougal. If you're in McDougal, please take your tornado precautions. Seek shelter in the interior room at a sturdy structure. Cape Girardeau, active tornado warning showing up there. You've already had a tornado report from this storm. Looks like the city was Delta, where the storm did produce a tornado in Cape Girardeau County, Missouri. So that's what's going on there. This was a significant damage tornado was confirmed. So significant tornado damage confirmed by the folks who observed that tornado. That's now moving off towards Cape Girardeau. I need to get to a better or closer radar site here if I can find one here in the near area. There's Paducah. Let's go to Paducah. Okay, so couple of different tornado warned storms. I'm just examining this real quickly. Okay, so we have this tornado reported in Delta, observed tornado, produced some significant damage, and it is making its way off now toward the north and east. It's moving and will be near East Cape Girardeau at 7:04. That's 6:14 minutes. You got 9 minutes. It takes about 6 minutes for a radar to do a scan. So there is some uncertainty with regard to these timestamps. So keep that in mind. Anna, thank you. Or Anna will see the storm on about 7:25. Cypress, that storm will be and your area just after the 7:30 time frame. Again, these times are all central time based here so that you are aware of that. Okay, we do have another tornado warning in the area. It looks like the storm warning is heading, this tornadic storm is heading right toward the interstate corridor here, I-55, as it makes its way in towards Cape Girardeau right now. That is where that tornadic thunderstorm is approaching. So dangerous storms working their way into the boot heel of Missouri right now and points north. Look at this, Carbondale, Illinois, seeing some very heavy storms making their way through the Paducah area as well. Just north of town, an active tornado warning here near Eddyville. We see a rotating couplet right here. Moving off to the northeast, that particular tornado is on the is a Doppler indicated one, excuse me, and it's moving to the northeast at 58 miles per hour. So it will be in Eddyville now and continuing its trek to the north and to the east. So that's what we're looking at there. Let's go back and look. We have severe thunderstorm warnings, just so you're aware. These yellow polygons you see, thunderstorm warnings. The pink ones, tornado warnings. So there is a number of them. Hutcharuski says, Mike, good to see you on board. If you do have a question, a comment, or a concern, let me know. And if you're not familiar with Hutcharuski here, I am a meteorologist, on-air chief meteorologist for the last 30 years in the Northern Plains, and I am now streaming weather online. So I appreciate you. If you have a question, if you have a meteorology question, I'd be happy to try to address that. A lot of communities down here with Cape Girardeau having another report of a tornado. Here it is. That's the one that's moving right over the I-55 corridor right now. So here it is, another tornado report just north of the Chaffee area. It looks like on the backside of the system, we have another little couplet that is trying to form. That would be evidence inside the cloud that we have one. This was Dutchtown, 2 miles south-southeast. A tornado was reported. A trained spotter did report that tornado as it's working its way. It looks like right now that thing would be right next to the I-55 corridor, working its way in the general direction of you folks in Cape Girardeau, Missouri. So keep that in mind. That's a dangerous storm. And it does have a tornado on the ground. On a day when strong tornadoes are a possibility, you need to be taking these warnings seriously, please, by seeking shelter, getting out of things like mobile homes, manufactured homes, and getting into something a lot more sturdy if you can do so. So that's what's going on here. As we move up a little bit north towards Mount Vernon, we have an active tornado warning there. This tornado warning is for what looks like a couplet on the leading edge of a line right here, right near Mount Vernon at this particular time. That is where the storm is. This storm moving towards Ashley by 6:37, so it's well by you, on its way towards Mount Vernon now. That's where we said it would be. And Flora, 7:42. So the timing estimate right on the money with regards to the Mount Vernon passage of this storm, heading in that general direction of areas just north of Blueford out there. So take a look at what we have going on here as we continue to trek northward towards Newton and Charleston. So outside the Charleston area, we do have another tornado warning. That does include the Paris area, Terre Haute, also in the path of that particular storm. Let me see if I can locate a closer radar. Indianapolis is there, but let's go with the Princeton radar and see if we can still see some decent quality velocity data. So this is, again, storm relative velocity that basically factors in the motion of the storm with the velocities measured by the radar, so we can more clearly pick out where there might be a rotating concern. This particular storm showing that evidence right there where you see the triangle near Marshall. That storm is moving off to the north and to the east at 68 miles per hour. So these storms are averaging 55 to 70 mile per hour motion as they're working their way through the state of Indiana right now. So we do have some rain reports. We got some Champaign, Illinois area wind gust reports upwards of 60 miles per hour measured there. Some damage from the thunderstorms of trees in the Mansfield area as well. And we also have outbuilding damage in Farmer City showing up out there from those storms to the north. Now, as we work our way northward, it's unbelievable, but just north of Madison, Wisconsin, we have tornado warnings. We have two, one heading into the South Bend area right now, one north of Rochester and heading south of the Plymouth area. Let's get to a little bit closer radar right here outside of Warsaw, and it will load up and we can see this storm warning was issued when this storm was right here. It's now making its way toward the Bourbon area as we take a look at the velocity structure inside the storm. I am not seeing clear evidence of very, very tight rotation on this storm, but it is it is a tornado warned storm. 1-inch diameter hail is indicated here by the National Weather Service. 70 mile per hour movement right towards the Bourbon area. Go to the adjusted velocity data and see if we can see. Again, remembering where the radar is very important when it comes to this, but it's all off near the Warsaw area, and we're seeing that this couplet is back here on the backside of the storm system. So that's where we would likely have the rotation in that storm making its way in the general direction of Bourbon. There is the adjusted information from the National Weather Service's radar. Syracuse 7:26. It will be near you. Bourbon by 7:05. So you have less than 5 minutes with the speed of movement of this to seek appropriate precautions in the Bourbon area. Again, this is not a guaranteed one on the ground, but it's from a storm that's showing indications of that tight rotation just off to the southwest rather of you in the Bourbon area. Now off to the direction of, well, it looks like Wisconsin, those tornado warnings have been allowed to expire. Let's take a look at the radar out here. We have rotating thunderstorm with tornado warnings for this cell that's making its way north of the Madison area. Now a thunderstorm warning. We can clearly see very bright reds next to bright greens here, though. So the thunderstorm, the parent thunderstorm, is still rotating pretty tightly out here as we take a look. It's moving in that general direction of Beaver Dam and Randolph at this particular time. So again, there is some indication that this storm near the Doylestown area is rotating just north of Madison. So why don't we go ahead and see what we can see with our own eyes, shall we, and take a look from DOT cameras in the area if we can find one. I would be optimistic that the Madison area would have some DOT cameras there in the beautiful state of Wisconsin. So let's get down towards Madison. Points just north. I'm going to look on the radar here and say that we are generally, now how far north of Madison are we? Northeast near Beaver Dam. So here we go as we head on in towards Columbus and some prairie, and let's see what this storm looks like as we get out of Madison. And there's Beaver Dam. There are no cameras up there in that particular vicinity. It looks like the closest one I can see is out here. See if it has any other views. Nope, it's just a locked view. Okay, so we're not going to have much luck taking a look at the skies with these DOT cameras, but you know what? They're meant to watch roads and road conditions. So I was just hoping we could see that storm. That's a rotating thunderstorm that's on the ground, not on the ground, that's on its way towards Beaver Dam. It is producing a chance for some significant hail as it works its way in your general direction there in Beaver Dam. And there is still some indications that that storm is showing signs of rotation. So a good idea to seek shelter, stay away from those windows. And if you are a storm spotter, I'm sure they have a few out there keeping their eyes on the skies out there. But it's interesting weather when in very early April we have tornado warnings as far north as Wisconsin. In the meantime, we have winter storm conditions taking place across portions of northern Minnesota right now, with upwards of 6 to 12 inches of snow reported up in parts of Minnesota here and in the Fargo area here, which is where I am broadcasting from, a good 7 inches of snow on the ground. So a big picture look at the storm systems right now. Let's get down into Tennessee, north of Nashville, heading towards Bowling Green right now. We do have an active tornado warning. I'm picking this storm. It's kind of outside the realm of the line of storms that we see out there. And some of these isolated cells can and sometimes do have a better chance at seeing more energy from them, a little bit more energy, more spin available. So north of Franklin right now, this cell is moving, taking you in a little bit tighter. Let's see if we can see a couplet here, and we can see some evidence of a rotation just north of Franklin heading towards Woodburn right now, where we see the greens and the reds next to each other. It's not the strongest signature that I've seen. That's good news, but it is a tornado warning. It's a rotating storm, and it's moving towards Franklin by now, and it's through Franklin, the rotating part. It's on its way to Woodburn by 7:08, and this particular tornadic thunderstorm's moving at 48 miles per hour. Prepare for hail with this cell as well. Taking a look at the standard radar data here, you can see there it is. A little bit of a hook to it on the south side too. You're going to get whacked by rain and hail with this storm first in Woodburn, and then the rotating part of the storm moves through. So when you hear the hail end, don't go wandering outside thinking all is clear. That's not the case with the storm that's moving in this direction that looks like this kidney bean here. The rotating part of the storm would be here in this, what we would call an echo-free zone, in that little bite taken out of the storm. That is an indication of a hook echo. And if we look at the velocity, that might very well be where we see the velocity couplet. So we'll switch back to that. If it's right where my pointer is, it's pretty close. It's to that general vicinity. So some rotating of that storm right there. Mike's asking about cloud seeding, and Not necessarily likely a factor at all. This is all driven by some very strong dynamics in the atmosphere, was seen coming for several days. So keep that in mind. There's just a lot of moisture out here. These storms are fueled by moist, humid air from the Gulf of Mexico, Little Rock area, and points to your west. We have flash flood warnings that extends all the way up towards Searcy. Flash flooding is taking place right now in and around Cabot, it looks like. And again, you'll want to seek higher ground. If you're coming across flooded roadways, do not try to drive across them. Do not try to drive across in rural road areas, low water crossings as well. Another flood warning out there, North Little Rock and Conway on the interstate there, if you're looking at 40 coming across. So keep that in mind. There could be some flooding if you're interstate driving across the interstate tonight down in parts of Arkansas. So that is a look. We have severe thunderstorms south of Little Rock. Those storms look like they're making their way through the area just north of Camden and off to the west of Pine Bluff. The storm that was going to affect Pine Bluff has moved through your area. It's going through the Little Rock area. Let's take a look and see what the latest Little Rock radar display is showing. Here is your rotating thunderstorm here by the England area. It's moving off to the east. We can see this notch taken out of the storm here. Greens and reds indicative of some rotation in the storm that's working its way through. So it's not rotation free, let's say that. As we go down here near the Redfield area, and on 5:30, not far from Whitehall, we do have some evidence of rotation in this storm. It's not super strong, but it's not zero either. So it's not impossible nor improbable that that could be the case. The part of this storm that prompted the warning is all the way over here. But now we're seeing, it looks like this storm that was to the north dipping down as well. So that's what we see. Yeah, and it's getting a little stronger is the rotation echo showing up right here over 5:30, just north of Pine Bluff. So if you're in areas north of Pine Bluff, north of Whitehall, there is some rotation showing up into that storm system right there. We have hot, warm, moist air being fed into the storm out here. This looks like some sort of an outflow boundary coming around the other side. So there is some shear in that storm right there. Sometimes that outflow can become outflow dominant, and that cooler air can really kind of cut off and undercut the tornadic possibilities with the storm. The National Weather Service's warning for this storm says there is a hail threat of 1 inch in diameter. There's no mention of a tornado risk with this particular storm, but I do see some rotation with regards to that particular storm on the clean velocity scale. If I go to the storm relative velocity scale, let's see if it's still there, and we'll go back down in, and I do see we've got motion away from the area radar in Little Rock and motion toward on the backside. So that would be backwards display. Nope, this is more unidirectional stuff on this side, which would reduce that tornado threat. Although by Coy over here, there could be a couplet showing up there. So I would say that would be your area where we would have the concern of a possibility for some rotation in the storm, and maybe even some sizable hail by Coy as well, based on this little thing I'm seeing right here. Let's take a look at what's going on with the hail threat with this as we look at the regular reflectivity data from this particular storm. Let's go to the single site stuff. It's a little faster. Tornado warning has been issued here for that storm now, and let's take a look at that. So this storm warning, let me make sure. Yeah, this is a newer tornado warning issued for the storm, 1 1/4 inch diameter hail. The location is the Screeton area, and it's moving off to the northeast at 43 miles per hour towards Hazen. So if you're in Hazen, take your tornado precautions. This is a Doppler indicated tornado moving to the northeast, and again, closer to that 50 mile per hour range, moving towards Hazen by 7:23. So you have some time to seek shelter in that interior room. That will be crossing over the Interstate 40 corridor between Hazen and Bisco in the upcoming minutes. Bisco, the tornadic storm, will be near your area by 7:38. That is a look. Active weather taking place all across the areas of Arkansas, from northeast Arkansas right down to southwest Arkansas near Shreveport. We also have tornado warnings aplenty in parts of southern Illinois, moving into western parts of Indiana right now. As far north as it looks like Fort Wayne and the South Bend area, seeing a strong Boeing line segment making its way through here. A severe thunderstorm, but also a tornado warning there. We've had in the last couple of hours a tornado report in a funnel cloud, rather. I'm sorry, a funnel cloud report 3 miles west of Evansville. This is way up in Wisconsin tonight. So a lot of energy in the atmosphere tonight. We'll keep our eyes on it. But for you, stay weather aware during the evening hours. And here's a look at the radar forecast, the forecast model with regard to this storm system. I'll get you down to the southern plains here so you can see I've been tracking this winter weather event going on in the northern plains here. So let's go ahead and get you down south and get right into the Ohio River Valley and show you what the forecast is. On the latest model run, we are expecting these storms to continue in the Boot Hill, Missouri. Watch this. They just kind of linger there in western parts of Kentucky and into western Tennessee for much of the nighttime hours. So we're carrying this all the way in past midnight, and we still see them stretching their way. So the north side of the storm stretching its way out into the east near Pittsburgh as we head into western Pennsylvania and parts of northern West Virginia. But this lingering activity here means that there will be a chance for some storms tonight in those general areas not far from western Kentucky again. So they won't be too far from where we are right now. This model goes out a little bit further. Let's take a look at it, showing that we will have robust thunderstorm activity. These guys that you see skirting out in front of the storm here may have the best chance at bringing that tornado threat. See this little batch of storms right here, kind of ahead of the main line in clean, untouched, unfettered air, if you will. Those will have a little bit more energy, maybe a better chance of some spin if they do indeed form at all. But anywhere along this line, we got that threat of very gusty straight line winds, and we can't rule out tornadoes into the overnight hours. But by the time we get toward daybreak, these fizzle out just a little bit, could be isolated severe, but not nearly as widespread. I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. As storms approach your area in the south tonight, make sure that you're staying up to date with the very latest weather information. Think now where you can go to protect yourself from a tornado, and if a tornado warning is issued, that you know where you can go to stay safe. For now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. Stay tuned to my channel right here. This is my YouTube channel. I'd love to have you subscribe right here, but for now, I'm meteorologist Hutch Johnson. We'll get you back to your ongoings tonight. Stay weather aware from Arkansas all the way north into Indiana and even Wisconsin on this active